9-year-old Asia Degree grew up in the South in Shelby, North Carolina. She was raised in a sheltered environment when routine schedules was the normal, especially in the 90s. However, what happens when someone knows your routine so well that it gets interrupted? Who could have possibly taken Asia on the day of her parents' anniversary on Valentine's Day in the middle of the night while her brother was in the same room with her? This is episode number 4, The Missing Case of Asia Degree. Welcome to Key Pieces of Evidence. I am your host, Key Darlise. We will look into the case of Asia Degree. Before we begin, Key Pieces of Evidence is a weekly podcast that focuses on true crime mystery and any information that might bring awareness. Anything I say is comprised of my findings from different online sources, which will be linked down below, and of course, my thoughts and opinions. And if I've said anything by mistake or left out anything, please kindly let me know all in the comments, along with the link to your source. I will only be discussing things that are public information. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. This week, we will be discussing the case of Asia Degree. This is episode number 4, The Missing Case of Asia Degree. Asia Degree's parents is Harold and Aquila Degree, and they married on Valentine's Day in 1988. Asia has an older brother, O'Brien Degree. Her aunt is Alicia Degree, who lived down the street. Joanne Jackson is her grandmother, who also lived in the neighborhood as well. And Asia's father, Harold, worked second shift at PPG, which was 18 minutes from their house. The mom worked at Kuwait International, a piano company. So obviously we notice with Asia Degree's family is very close-knit, it's very tight. Asia Degree was sheltered. She was an introvert. She was considered a latchkey kid because her parents worked so hard that the children needed to be responsible to let themselves in after school. Asia Degree was also very involved in extracurricular activities. She was a star point guard on the Pee Wee basketball team. Asia had only missed one day of school in September while achieving AB honor roll status. The parents confirmed that Asia loved school. So this is a case where Asia was a really wonderful little girl at the age of 9 years old. Now, Asia is from Shelby, North Carolina, and it's a small city located near Charlotte and Asheville. The population is 20,000, where most people live in 2-parent homes. However, there are 3 freeways that go through Shelby, which is I-85, Highway 74, and I-26. There are 4 highways that go through Shelby, North Carolina. 18, the 150, 180, and 226. Asia attended Falston Elementary School, and she was in the 4th grade. Now, Asia Degree walked home from school with her brother to let themselves in because, like I stated earlier, her parents worked very hard to provide for them. Asia and her brother was also isolated, however, and they had a very detailed routine schedule that they did every single week. One routine that they did every single week was attend their family church at Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church in Waco, which is 25 minutes from their house. Asia's parents were very strict and did not allow technology in their homes, including computers. The weekend of February the 11th, more importantly, on Friday, the children spent the day at their Aunt Alicia's house, which was down the street in the same neighborhood, from which they went to their youth basketball practices at school. The next day, on Saturday, Asia's basketball game was at Burns Middle School. They lost their first game of the season. Asia had fouled out and was super discouraged and began crying. They returned home, yet Asia and her brother had a sleepover with their cousins that following night. On Sunday, the next day, the children went to Macedonia Baptist Church in Waco, North Carolina, which is 25 minutes from their house. They had Sunday dinner from their Aunt Alicia's house and then returned home. Valentine's Day candy was given to them by their grandmother Joanne. That Sunday night, on February 13th, Harold went to work at PPG Industries, which is 18 minutes if you're taking Highway 18. At about 9 p.m., a power outage occurred as a result of a car accident nearby. As a result, the children went to sleep. Asia had fell asleep while lying on the sofa wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Monday morning, which is February the 14th, Valentine's Day, and also their parents' anniversary. At 12:30 a.m. on Valentine's Day, Harold Degree returns to the house. Asia had been lying on the sofa wearing jeans and a t-shirt before changing into her nightgown. At 2:30 a.m., Harold goes to see Asia and her brother in their room. This would be the last time he saw Asia in her bed sleeping. Around 2:30 a.m. to 3:45 a.m., O'Brien, her older brother, sees Asia dressed in her white nightgown with red trim and a teddy bear on its front get up and use the bathroom and return to her bed. Shortly afterward, O'Brien reports hearing her bed squeak and believes Asia is just tossing in her bed. At 4:45 a.m. on Valentine's Day, Aquila, which is Asia's mom, wakes up. The kids normally get up for school at 6:30 a.m., but Aquila, the mom, gets up early and draws bath water so the kids can bathe, since because the night before of the power outage they were not able to. Aquila goes a few feet from the bathroom to the kids' bedroom to wake both O'Brien and Asia up, but only sees her son under his covers, and Asia is missing. Despite checking the entire house and both cars, all of the doors and windows in the home had been locked, indicating Asia left on her own. This revelation suggested that the squeaking O'Brien heard wasn't Asia crawling back into bed. Instead, she was packing her book bag and was getting ready to leave home for reasons unknown. On Valentine's Day, the police searched heavily into the woods where a witness said she ran off into, and that's when they uncovered a shed of a nearby business, Turner Upholstery, and discovered that Asia presumably sheltered herself from the storm because candy wrappers were littered about. A pencil and a marker were found, and a Mickey Mouse shaped hair bow was also located. Mind you, it is pouring down raining on Valentine's Day. So here I'm going to go over and just review the timeline for you all. 2:30 a.m. is the last time the dad, Harold, sees Asia sleep in her bed. But 60 to 90 minutes later, motorists would have seen her on Highway 18. Mind you, that is the same highway that her dad takes to go to work. 3:45 a.m. to 4:15 by two separate motorists stated that she was wearing her pajamas, a long sleeve shirt, and a long white trouser. One motorist circled back 3 times out of concern, but Asia ran from his car. She was then apparently seen getting into a Lincoln Thunderbird 1 mile from her house. By the time Aquila, the mother, woke up at 5:45 a.m. 1 year later, Asia's book bag is found 26 miles in Burke County, and that's southbound of Charlotte. It was found near Asia's book bag was buried and wrapped in plastic bags at a construction site. The exact contents have not been revealed. So this is interesting. We do not know where Asia is located. She disappears on a rainy, thundering, and lightning day, early in the morning. However, a year later, her book bag is found in perfect condition because someone took the time to wrap it with plastic bags in almost perfect condition. Is that a coincidence? Did someone purposely bury it so that it could be discovered? Now, the contents of the inside of this book bag, and the book bag was black or beige. It had clothing, her favorite jeans with a red side stripe, long sleeve white nylon shirt, a red vest with black trim, black overalls with Tweety Bird, black and white long sleeve shirt, a basketball uniform. It also had a lime green Tweety Bird purse, black shoes, Asia's wallet, 3 family photos, and the house key. So if Asia really ran away at the age of 9 years old, why would she still have the house key? Why would she have the 3 family photos if she wanted to walk away from her family? So if Asia were still alive, and she could very much still be alive, she would be 29 years old. However, we still cannot locate her. So I'm going to go over a few theories with you. One theory that I found is that, number 1, maybe she was sleepwalking and maybe she wandered outside and then was captured by someone by mistake. However, I believe this is the least likely to be believed because she had a backpack that had an enormous amount of clothing in it. That sounds like a preparation to go somewhere. Theory number 2, a family member or someone hiding in plain sight that knew their routine took Asia. And this is the one where it seems like we don't want to blame anyone without sufficient evidence. But when you have a routine that you do every single day, you have almost a picture perfect family. You don't know who might be jealous of that situation and might want to interrupt that. So I believe maybe someone was hiding in plain sight, maybe befriended them, and possibly had taken her away. Theory number 3 is that she ran away. My thing about the whole theory of running away, I can't believe that a 9-year-old would run away, especially when she did not have problems at home. She did not have problems at school. She was an AB honor student. She was in extracurricular activities. There was no form of abuse in the home. She was close with even other family members. So why would she run away? And then lastly, number 4, abduction. If you checked out my previous podcast, I talked about how you have 3 types of kidnappings. You have the family kidnapping, which is around like 49%. You have the associate kidnapping, and then you have the stranger kidnapping. Now, one thing about the stranger, someone who may have abducted her that did not know her, whether they knew her or not, they probably were studying the routine of the family. And that's the most devastating thing about it. Now, there has been new evidence. In May 2016, FBI reinvestigates the case. ASHA may have been seen getting into a dark green, early 1970s Lincoln Continental Mark IV, or a Ford Thunderbird with rust on the wheels. On October 2018, the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office detective revealed 2 key pieces of evidence that has never been shared with the public. Number 1, ASHA had a McElligot's Pool book by Dr. Seuss. It was borrowed from the Falston Middle School Library in 2000. And that's really good to know that piece of information, because if anybody has that novel stamped with that middle school name 2000, then that gets us closer to knowing what happened to ASHA. Number 2, she had a New Kids on the Block concert t-shirt. If you know anything, please call the FBI Charlotte at 704-672-6100. With this case, I wanted to bring up some key pieces of evidence or key pieces of awareness. At the point where ASHA ran into the woods, a billboard now stands appearing to help finding her. Her family hosts an annual walk from their home to the billboard to draw attention to the case. It was originally held on February 14th, but it was changed to February 7th in 2015 and February 6th in 2016, as Harold and Aquila felt it was not fair to participants to make Valentine's Day a somber occasion. In 2008, they established, also her parents, a scholarship in ASHA Degree's name for a deserving local student. One thing about this case that I want everyone to take away from is that to be careful about creating routines in your everyday life, your everyday schedule. You might think going to the grocery store every Saturday morning is not a big deal, but you have to be careful. You don't know who is watching you. And it goes the same if especially you have children. Never keep the same routine, because you never know who might interrupt it. Once again, if you know any information about the case of ASHA Degree, please call the FBI Charlotte at 704-672-6100. I hope you all took away some key pieces. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is episode number 4, The Missing Case of ASHA Degree. Until next time.